I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of May 25th, 2016.
Yay, Star Wars Day!
Woo! Yeah. Is it? Today's the day Star Wars are released?
1977.
Sure.
May 25th.
May 25th. All right. So we'll talk about Star Wars all day today. No. Today is also the day that DC will dominate the comic book landscape, probably. Haven't exactly figured out how I'm going to do this here because I've got 3 books that are all somewhat connected to DC Rebirth. And I guess we'll start there. Let me start by saying Rebirth #1 is my pick of the week by a long, long ways. But before you dive into Rebirth, and it actually says on the bottom of the first page, so you read the first page of Rebirth and you get to the bottom and it says, please read, or this takes place after Justice League 50 and Superman 52, which are also both out this week. So the correct order to read, if you're following the DC Universe, is Justice League number 50, followed by Superman 52, followed by Rebirth. Now, if you're not reading those other 2 books, then don't worry about it. Just dive right into Rebirth. You'll figure it out. So let's start with Justice League 50. This is the conclusion, finally, of the Dark Side War, Part 10. Not that I haven't enjoyed it.
Part 10 plus 7 one-shots.
Yeah, but man, this has been really drawn out. Again, not that I haven't enjoyed it, but... yeah. So we get some reveals in here. We get resolution to the Dark Side War, plus the seeds being planted for future storylines. This is the final Justice League issue by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok. We also get some interesting stuff if you're a Batman fan. Now, it was teased several months ago that the identity of the Joker is going to be revealed in this issue. That may or may not be the case. Let me put a little asterisk on there. Go ahead.
Batman asked the Mobius chair, who is the Joker?
And this was 10 issues ago.
Yes. And we find out what the Mobius chair told him.
Yes.
Which is an answer to that question. Answer.
It may not be the answer that DC said it would be. And it is an intriguing answer, and I'm curious to see where it goes, and it will continue into the Rebirth, into DC Rebirth.
Followed by DC Afterbirth.
Yes.
The whole thing.
Also, interesting turns of events for Wonder Woman and for Darkseid, so you want to definitely check out 50. Do we want to bounce over to you? Because I'm going to just be talking for 10 minutes if we do this.
All right. My first... I didn't actually think about that. My first pick this week is Scooby Apocalypse #1. And how bullcrap is this? So the first credit on the cover is Lee.
Yeah.
For Jim Lee, who drew the cover and did the artist designs. The character design.
Well, actually, if you read in the fine print there, it's based on a concept by Jim Lee. So that's
based on a concept by Jim Lee.
So that's why he gets top billing.
It's like George Lucas at the front of a Star Wars movie he had nothing to do with.
Yes.
Written by Keith Giffen with art by Jay DeMatteis, Howard Porter.
No. Story by Giffen and DeMatteis.
Oh. Okay. Art by Howard Porter. That's interesting. So, Scooby Apocalypse is the Scooby-Doo apocalypse. We get to see the origin. We see the group meet up for the first time in these new, different, modern circumstances. And we see, actually, this issue is pre-apocalyptic, and we see sort of things, maybe how the apocalypse happens and who may or may not be responsible for it. But it was a lot of fun. They kept the core conceit of all of the classic characters and re-envisioned them in a modern adult-type story. Not adult as in mature, but, as in for grown-ups. And yeah, it was cool. I was pleased with the way the characters were portrayed. They had personalities that were evident. I think Daphne has more personality in this issue than she did in the entire cartoon series.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. Scooby Apocalypse, classic taste, re-envisioned for the modern era, and Shaggy's jaw is not this ridiculous in most of the comic.
Yeah. So who is this for? I think this is a little misleading. To some degree because it's a Scooby-Doo book, but I would say this is for like 14 and up. And not necessarily because of content. It is because of content, but there's nothing objectionable. It's just a very densely packed story.
Right.
And I don't think that anyone under that age, unless they are extremely gifted, is going to be able to appreciate it and enjoy it. It's definitely not for, third graders.
Right.
I wouldn't give it to a little kid that likes Scooby-Doo. But if you have a middle school or junior high school age student, Also adults, those of us that grew up with Scooby-Doo on TV, that's who this book is for. And you'll enjoy it. It was the other, excuse me, I knew that burp was coming. We talked about this before, but it took a long while to get here. Giffen and DeMatteis are the team behind Justice League International from the 1980s, which was I don't want to say a huge hit, but it found its audience.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy that style of writing and you want to see that in the Scooby-Doo universe, you want to check this one out too. Superman 52, last issue of Superman, last issue for Superman. This should not be too much of a surprise that, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything, the New 52 Superman bites the dust in this issue. This is written by Peter Tomasi, artwork by Mikel Janin, and it's been a good ride. This is an 8-part storyline, The Final Days of Superman. It's been very enjoyable. Peter Tomasi's kind of been steering the ship on this one, and we get lots of guest stars. We've got Batman, Wonder Woman, Supergirl. We've got the pre-New 52 Superman, and we've got this being who thinks that he's Clark Kent and Superman, as well as the New 52 Superman. So all kinds of Supermen in this book, and Lois Lane. So if you've been following the Final Days of Superman, you're not going to want to miss this one. Again, it is the final chapter. This is the end of the New 52 Superman, and the end was kind of emotional, tugged on the heartstrings a little bit, but it was good. I've enjoyed the full run.
Actually, my favorite part was the page after the end, where it showed different people's reaction to it and how and it was just, there was no words, it was just one panel per character, and I really thought that was an excellent epilogue. New this week from Marvel, we've got Steve Rogers, Captain America, #1. So not to be confused with Sam Wilson, Captain America.
Can we
also
get some
on
more?
the stands.
We need some more Captain
Any other Captain Americas hiding about somewhere? This one is also, just like the Sam Wilson one, written by Nick Spencer. It's got art by Jesus Saez. And this is the newly not old Steve Rogers getting back into the swing of being Captain America. He's got a new shield. He's got a new costume. He appears to be working for S.H.I.E.L.D., at least in this issue. Yeah. And we see a lot of classic Captain America sidekicks show up. We've got Rick Jones, who is like the ultimate sidekick in the Marvel Universe. We've got Rick Flag.
Jack Flag.
Jack Flag.
Rick Flag's from DC.
Okay. Well, he's going to be in the Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Jack Flag, who you most recently saw probably in Guardians of the Galaxy about 5 years ago. I don't remember many times since then.
Was he?
Yeah, he was on the Abnett and Landing run.
Okay.
He was actually really good.
I know he mentioned that in the book.
He was in the superhero prison, and
gotcha.
he was in a wheelchair for a while, then he was better.
Like Rick Jones.
Yeah, like Rick Jones.
And Rick James. No.
Different thing. And I don't actually know who the other person is. Do you know who that other girl was?
It's, what's her name? Star? I don't know.
Star something. There's a female Free Spirit is her superhero name.
She's from an earlier Captain America run. In fact, they have that discussion at the table where, was that when he was a werewolf? No, that's when he had the armor.
Yeah.
And
all the sidekicks kind of kibitz and share Ward stories. And it was just a lot of fun. I liked it. There is some setting up of a long-term story for the Marvel Universe and for Cap that was unexpected, to say the least.
Very unexpected, yes. Did not expect the ending that we got of this book.
Why is Sharon Carter old? Did I miss that?
It was from the what's his face? The Dimension Z.
Same time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, she was kept prison the whole time.
I think so. I need to go back and read it, and they need to explain it because Sharon, if you haven't been reading Cap for a little while,
for example, if you watch that Captain America movie that just came out.
Yeah, Sharon Carter looks more like Sharon Stone at this point. Current day Sharon Stone, and young Steve is still with her, so it's the opposite of what usually happens, where you have old men and young women. Now you have an old woman. She's not old.
Technically, he's older than she is.
She's probably in
still.
her 50s. I don't know. Some of the pages she looked like she was a skeleton. But yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I think Nick Spencer does a great job writing pretty much everything.
And Falcon and Bucky, who are on the cover,
not
in the issue.
Not in the book. Yeah. Neither is the Capitol Building, which is also on the cover. All right, up to my pick of the week, DC Universe Rebirth. Number 1 of 1, also known as a one-shot. This is written by Jeff Johns with artwork by a team of Johns' artistic cronies, including Gary Frank, Ethan Van Sciver, and Ivan Rice, Phil Jimenez. This is what you want to read if you're a DC Comics fan. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I took time out of my day yesterday in the middle of the day to read it because I felt obligated, and I wanted to read it. and I think many other shop owners did that when their shipments came in. They stopped what they were doing if they were able to read Rebirth. This is a multi-layered story, and it is absolutely for anybody that loves DC Comics. Jeff Johns has basically written a condemnation of DC Comics of the last 5 years. And it's somewhat of an apology, calling DC out for feeling the need to change direction 5 years ago and abandon the legacy of these characters and basically erase everything that had happened, except when they chose not to. Things like Doomsday still killing Superman and Bane still breaking Batman's back still happened. But...
which is ironic, because Johns was writing, 3 titles coming out of the beginning of...
Yes.
New 52.
Yes. Reading the narration in this, it's narrated by a classic DC Comics character that we have not seen in the New 52. And that's part of the fun of this, is getting to see that character. And just his narration is spot on for what I think a lot of longtime DC fans felt about the New 52, and even maybe some newer fans. The New 52 was fresh and fun in the beginning for the most part, and then it kind of dropped off for a variety of reasons. This is John saying we were wrong. It sets up a lot of stuff for what's going to come afterwards. I think it's much clearer now what the solo character Rebirth titles are going to be, like Batman Rebirth #1. You can kind of see what that's going to be. Superman Rebirth #1. There's emotion, there's heart. This is John's bringing his A game. And don't go to the end of the book. Do not flip through it. You don't want to see what happens at the end, because it will not mean as much. I mean, this was quite a reveal at the end of this book. So, $2.99 for DC Universe Rebirth #1.
Which is, 80 pages?
80 pages. No
Massive.
ads, I don't think. Until you get to the back when they have some of the previews.
Yeah, there's previews for the new books, but there's no other ads through the central
ads.
book.
I would put this on a level, and Josh will probably disagree with me or slap me or something. If you have Crisis on Infinite Earths, if you have Infinite Crisis, if you have Flashpoint, this is on a level with all of those stories and belongs right alongside of them. Don't show people what...
No, I was checking because they don't have the full names here. I was going to the laundry list of artists.
Those are inkers and colors. The main artists were the first ones that I mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Stops with Jimenez. So yes, I would totally put this alongside Crisis, Infinite Crisis, Flashpoint, kind of the benchmarks. Rebirth, Blackest Night, not Rebirth. Yeah, I was thinking Green Lantern Rebirth.
Which is, yeah.
And Blackest Night. This is a must-have for DC Comics fans. Now, to the one bad side of this is that, in our opinion, because Josh read it too, and he honestly didn't love it as much as I did. Now, I've been reading DC Comics a lot longer than Josh has.
That's true.
But it doesn't appear to be very new reader friendly. So if you're looking to get into the DC universe, I don't know if I would start with Rebirth. There are
with the one shot.
With the one shot.
Yeah.
When they start with the new series, starting with #1, the ongoing series, those obviously are going to be designed for people to jump into. So Batman #1, et cetera, et cetera. But this book itself, I think if someone were to walk in off the street and they're like, oh, I hear DC has this thing called Rebirth, I want to check it out, I would be hesitant to give this to someone who's never read a DC comic before, because it is very deep in the legacy of DC Comics, which is a great thing if you're a DC Comics fan, long time or even short term. If you just get in with the New 52, I think you'll still dig it. But if you're brand new to comics, I would steer clear of DC Rebirth #1.
There's a certain brand new to comics character or reader that this would be good for. I mean, because one thing that it does is it levels the playing field. At the end of the day, because they're changing things as they go along, you don't know any more about what's going to happen by the end of the issue than somebody off the street. Now, there are a lot of vignettes with individual characters that if you don't have the background, you're not going to care as much about, but it could be the other way. It could be, oh, who's that cool guy? Now I want to learn more about this character.
It might be.
It depends on your personality. Some people hate that, not knowing what's going on, and some people like the mystery. So.
And I thought about that. I mean, I think neither one of us can read this as a new reader.
Right.
We've got too much history. So maybe I'm wrong, but there are certain interactions in here that mean much more if you have a history with those characters. If you don't, then you may just overlook it, and then, like you said, that may spur someone to check out, oh, who's that, or what's that sort of thing. But it means a lot if you've been reading DC Comics for a long time. I don't want to oversell it, but I already kind of have. It's really, really good, and I'm anxious to see where they go with this. I hope that Jeff Johns is really taking a heavy-handed approach with the writers and the editors to kind of restore the glory of the DC Universe, because this is an excellent start.
And then last up for me this week, we've just got a bunch of stuff that's still as good as it ever was. Starve, this is the end of the second storyline, I think. Actually, it says the last episode of Starve at the end is the next one, so... Starve is super awesome. I like Brian Wood, but I don't know any book he writes that's better than this one. It's super great. Joyride issue 2. A lot of times first issues are great because the writer has forever to prepare the first issue, and then the second issue is a letdown. This was almost the other way. I really liked the first issue of Joyride because it was fast paced and fun, and I actually like this one better because we actually got character development. Just a fun sci-fi romp. And Aliens Defiance. Hey, there's another Brian Wood book.
Yeah. And you liked his Viking thing, too.
I like Brian Wood. It is what it is. This is Aliens Defiance, written by Brian Wood, art by Tristan Jones. This is issue 2. And I could give 3 craps about aliens, but this is a really good soldier sci-fi space story. You've got a single living Marine who's been critically injured and is still in the recovery phase, going on a mission with a bunch of, what do they call them in the Aliens universe? Robots, synthoids, androids, bishops, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. with a crew of synthoids going after aliens, and it's just really, really good. There's great human drama. Like all sci-fi, it speaks to conditions in our world as well, and it's just great.
Finally, just a public service announcement. Image is doing their own previews catalog now, kind of, sort of. Which is it's a magazine format, and it truly is a magazine. It's chock full of interviews and previews of new titles. It's also the only place that you can get the Walking Dead origin of Negan. It's being told in, I think, 12 or 14, it might be 12 parts.
I think it's 12 parts, 4 issues per part, because it'll be 48 pages, so it'll be like 2 issues. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Negan.
So the second issue of Image Plus is out today, and you get a preview of Kill or Be Killed #1, which is the new comic by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, the team behind Criminal, which we thoroughly enjoy. You get interviews with Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey, who of course do Phonogram and Wicked and Divine. You get a lengthy preview of Ronald Wimberly's Prince of Cats. You get a cool cartoon at the beginning. You get editorial. You get a comic shop tour from a store in Virginia. Just so good. I thoroughly enjoyed the first issue. I sat down and read it, cover to cover, and I haven't done it yet with this, but I absolutely am going to. So it's $1.99 or free with the purchase of the bigger previews catalog. I don't know why you wouldn't pick this up if you're interested in comics, because it is really excellent.
And I believe, I like that they named it Image Plus, because that's much more accurate than Image Previews. If you think of like the Marvel previews, it's not at all like that.
It's a catalog.
Lots of content.
Yeah, the previews catalog and the Marvel previews are essentially catalogs. Right. You get little blurbs about what's coming out. This is a magazine. This is like reading Entertainment Weekly for Image Comics. Right. Top notch. Excellent stuff. So it's an exciting week to be a comic fan. With Rebirth coming out this week, we've got X-Men Apocalypse opening this week. The announcement last week of Supergirl moving over to the CW and having all of the DC heroes on the same network, which is kind of cool. But most of all, Rebirth is going to dominate the landscape, and it justifiably so. It is excellent. Highly recommended. Want to also remind folks that the first printing is $2.99. The first printing has already sold out at the distributor level, to the best of my knowledge. The second printing will be $5.99. So if you have an inkling of interest in Rebirth, you want to pick it up ASAP so you can grab that first printing at $2.99. All right. Anything else to add?
No, comics are awesome.
Comics are awesome. Let's all get fired up. Let's get excited about comics. Hit up your local comic shop this week. Pick up some awesome stuff. If you need help, ask the staff. They're there to help you. That's why we're here too. And as always, we appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed the episode, give us a thumbs up on the YouTubes, and we'll see you next week.